Now, from WYDC TV, this is Big Fox News at 10.
Good evening. Thanks for choosing Big Fox News. I'm Nick Smith. Pennsylvania's state system of higher education is moving forward with their plans to merge 6 universities into 2 after a final vote was taken yesterday. Among the schools slated for integration, Mansfield University. In tonight's top story, Big Fox's Matt Kleindist joins us from Corning with what that means for the school.
Good evening, Nick. The state system's Board of Governors voted overwhelmingly for the integration plan yesterday afternoon. This now kicks off the largest redesign of the Apache system in decades.
I just want to be clear about this. Is the beginning, it is not the end of a process.
After a 4-hour meeting, Pennsylvania's state system Board of Governors voted unanimously to enact the integration plan. Under this plan, Mansfield University will be combined with 5 other schools, creating 2 new campuses.
They maintain their historic names, their identities, their sports teams and clubs, while offering their students, their faculty and staff more opportunity they could afford if they were on their own.
System Chancellor Dan Greenstein pushed for months for the merging of institutions as a way of making the Apache system more financially stable. The move comes at a crucial moment, especially for Mansfield University.
With our reserves exhausted and dependent on system loans to address our deficit, Mansfield University is at an historical crossroads, as is the state system.
The integration plan is nonetheless controversial, as the faculty union raised numerous concerns about how much it would cost to consolidate schools. APSCUF President Dr. Jamie Martin released a statement about the vote, saying, quote, "The vote today is one step and does not complete the consolidation process. We will do all we can to make sure the outcome is the best for our students. The merging of faculty and academic programs will take several years to complete." Matt Kleindist, Big Fox, WYDC in Corning.
The village of Bath is currently working on upgrading old infrastructure in the area. Officials say the project will improve safety and reliability of Bath electric gas and water systems. The project is part of a statewide leak-prone pipe replacement program. Since 2018, Bath has replaced more than 3 miles of pipe. The optimism medical experts once had in the battle against COVID-19 is starting to fade as cases continue to rise in almost every state and more people end up in the hospital. And as Britt Conway reports, most of those people are unvaccinated.
He was with me one day and gone the next.
Rob Tersteeg, a husband, a father. He was 46 years old, healthy, and had no underlying conditions. But last month, he died from COVID-19.
Rob thought that he was invincible.
And he never got vaccinated.
Rob's wish was to share his story.
It's a story becoming all too familiar around the country. Hospitalizations are skyrocketing in several states. You can see those in red and dark red. The common denominator?
99+% of people in the hospital with COVID right now are unvaccinated.
And the more contagious Delta variant now accounts for nearly 60% of new infections in the U.S.
The vaccines we've got right now, the Moderna, the Pfizer, the J&J, are very effective at protecting against this Delta variant. Unvaccinated people going into hospital and dying, vaccinated people essentially not.
But right now, a little more than 56% of people who can get vaccinated are fully vaccinated. Rob regretted not being one of them.
Rob looked at me and said, "Get the kids vaccinated right away. I don't ever want to see them like this." So the kids got their first shot the next day.
I'm Britt Conway reporting.
We know the coronavirus pandemic changed life as we know it. Now studies are showing it caused millions of children worldwide to miss routine vaccinations. Researchers analyzed immunization data from 1980 to 2019 just to estimate how many routine vaccinations would have been expected if the pandemic never happened in 2020. What it found was that at least 17 million children worldwide likely missed routine vaccinations during the pandemic. The study coincides with data showing orders for routine vaccines for children were also down during the pandemic. President Biden is highlighting a key policy priority for his administration: tax credits for working families. Today, millions of Americans will receive new tax credit payments. The delivery comes as debate continues on a $3.5 trillion budget proposal. Republicans oppose another massive spending package, and it's unclear if there will be enough votes to pass it. Madeline Rivera has the latest from Washington.
Millions of families are seeing bumps to their bank accounts Thursday morning. Eligible families now receiving monthly payments of up to $300 for each child under 6 and up to $250 for each child aged 6 to 17.
We continue to build an economy that respects and recognizes the dignity of working-class families.
Passed under the American Rescue Plan in March, the expanded child tax credit has been touted by several Democrats and some child care experts as a landmark program that would lift many children out of poverty.
The average child care expense is about $8,300 per child per year. And that, keep in mind, that's all different types of forms. So if you consider that average amount, this will cover 40% of that.
Roughly $15 billion has been sent to families of nearly 60 million children, says the Treasury Department. But critics say the expanded credit will discourage people from working. Senator Marco Rubio says the president has transformed the pro-worker, pro-family child tax credit into an anti-work welfare check. Others say the economy is already running too hot and argue that more payments will make inflation worse.
The government's going to start building and undertaking a lot of other initiatives. And the problem will be if you're raising taxes.
The expanded credit ends in December, but President Biden is hoping to extend them until 2025, with some Democrats hoping to make the benefit permanent. In Washington, Madeline Rivera, Fox News.
Americans are taking advantage of the special enrollment period for Affordable Care Act coverage. The Centers for Medicine and Medicaid Services announcing more than 2 million Americans have signed up during President Biden's special enrollment period. And on Thursday, President Joe Biden announced his administration launching a 30-day campaign to encourage even more people to sign up for health insurance. The relief package passed back in March made 2 changes to premiums for all enrollees, making it more affordable. Enrollees now pay no more than 8.5% of their income toward coverage, down from nearly 10%. Wildfires continue to rage across portions of the western United States, and unrelenting heat is only fueling the flames. Asha Hasni has the latest.
A lot of people, their nerves are shot because it's like happening every year.
Crews battling dozens of wildfires across the western United States as drought and an intense heat wave continue to make conditions worse. Close to 70 active fires have burned more than 1 million acres, and nearly 17,000 firefighters are on the ground right now trying to contain them. The National Weather Service issuing heat warnings and advisories for parts of California, Nevada, Oregon, and Washington. Strong winds and low humidity are allowing fires to spread more quickly. Red flag warnings have been issued in states like Idaho, Wyoming, and Oregon. Oregon's week-old bootleg fire, which has now doubled in size every day since its start, is now covering an area larger than New York City and destroying at least 20 homes.
It was just racing across the hillside. You could just see it. I mean, it looked like ocean waves just rolling out in front of the fire.
And in Washington, residents of more than 1,000 homes are forced to evacuate due to the Red Apple fire, which started Tuesday night and has now spread over 9,000 acres.
It was a little emotional having to wake a 7 and 8 year old up and telling them you got to leave the house.
When the alarm went off and then you smelled the smoke in the house, it was like, oh geez, this got to be closed.
Meanwhile, airport officials that provide aerial relief to firefighters are facing a jet fuel shortage, which could ground this critical resource. In New York, Aisha Hasni, Fox News.
A New Jersey man will remain in jail until his trial following a racist rant on his neighbor. A video of the incident went viral earlier this month and prompted protest outside Edward Matthews' home. As Waukesha Bailey reports, neighbors say this isn't the first time Matthews has harassed people.
Mr. Edwards, the court has granted the state's motion. You will not be released.
In a 2-hour virtual hearing, Edward Cagney Matthews, also known as Cagney, stood at attention wearing an orange jumpsuit while attorneys argued his fate. The last time we saw Cagney was on July 5th when he was arrested and removed from his home of 3 years by Mount Laurel police.
Why do black people have to have video, and the amount of evidence has to be so high?
This mother-daughter duo outside the courtroom are finally feeling a sense of relief.
I'm happy in one sense because I feel like I can go outside and not have to worry about being harassed, that my daughter won't have to, be harassed by Mr. Cagney.
Meanwhile, the state prosecutor gave several witness accounts from over the past year when Matthews allegedly spewed out racial rants and wrote intimidating notes that later the FBI confirmed was his handwriting. While executing a search warrant, police found 250 grams of drugs that cause hallucination, a slingshot, and over 30 rounds of ball-bearing ammunition.
He used a weapon, shot ball bearings at people's cars, people's property. Again, stalking.
We've come to know of Matthews last week through this viral video. The state says his criminal history dates back to 1994, landing him in and out of jail. He's also missed 11 court appearances and has had 2 medical evaluations in 1992 and 2002. For those reasons, he will remain in the Burlington County Jail.
And that's all for today, Mr. Matthews. Thank you.
The Alive After 5 Summer Street Music Festival is returning to Elmira after a year-long hiatus. The festival promises to bring hundreds of people to Wisner Park with no major COVID restrictions. Organizers say the city is ready to have people enjoy live music in person again.
I feel the energy out there. I feel the energy that people are really ready to, come to this event.
Alive After 5 kicks off tomorrow after 5 p.m. with music guests, The Sweats, and Frightening Mirrors performing throughout the evening. If you can't make it tomorrow, the festival is scheduled for 5 appearances throughout the summer. Still ahead tonight, 2 popular brands of sunscreen being recalled after low levels of a chemical that can cause cancer was found in both products. More on what you need to know if you've purchased these items.
Here's your local stock market update from Big Fox. Now, your Twin Tiers forecast from Big Fox.
Your Big Fox forecast is brought to you by William Mattar. Good evening, everyone. Just a little bit warmer conditions today than yesterday. As we head toward the weekend, our chances of rain will start to increase. A few showers could be possible for early tomorrow, and then thunderstorms will be rolling through by Friday afternoon into the evening hours, and some of these thunderstorms will bring some heavy rain as well. That low will move toward our east. We're going to be on the backside of it on Saturday and into Sunday. Shower activity will continue even behind this low pressure system, and the air will be a little bit drier. It's not going to be quite as humid as what we're experiencing right now, and this comes as the jet stream digs to the south, allowing for that drier and cooler air to move in by Sunday. So you're going to feel a little bit of a difference on Sunday. It's not going to be quite as humid, and it's going to be cooler, but then we quickly rebound early next week as another system approaches our area. Right now, our dew points are around 67 degrees in that muggy category, and it's going to stay pretty muggy tomorrow as well, rising to around 71 degrees by 2 o'clock. We warm up to around 81 degrees around your lunch hour, and then those temperatures will be dropping as clouds start to increase, and our rain chances will also increase as well, causing those temperatures to dive down. So our future radar is showing a few showers for tonight into early tomorrow, and then notice what happens after noon. A few thunderstorms roll in, and some of these thunderstorms will bring some heavy rain. This will continue through about 8 or 9 o'clock in the evening. It starts to wind down at around 1 o'clock in the morning, and then there will be another round of rain coming in on Saturday at around 1 o'clock in the afternoon. Showers will become a little bit more widespread. It looks like off and on rain in the afternoon into the evening hours, and then overnight some heavy rain will be moving in, and that will continue into early Sunday. And then we should see a little bit drier conditions as we head into early next week. Here's a look at your forecast. 68 degrees tonight in Corning, 67 in Elmira. Highs tomorrow around 82 in Corning, and in Elmira a little bit cooler in Bath at 79 degrees. It will be humid, and we do have the possibility of a few thunderstorms. Better chances of rain, or at least more widespread on Saturday with the high around 81. We drop back down to around 77 on Sunday. Then those temperatures rebound on Monday and Tuesday, close to around 90 degrees on Tuesday, but then our next cold front comes in and it will drag a little bit cooler and drier air in. So highs will only be in the upper 70s. It's going to be a little bit below normal, and overnight lows will also drop down into the 50s with that drier air that will be in place.
Two popular brands of sunscreen were recalled after low levels of a chemical that can cause cancer was found in the products. Mandy Gaither has more on what you need to know in today's Health Minute.
A warning from Johnson & Johnson recalling 5 of the company's Neutrogena and Aveeno sunscreen lines in the U.S. The products affected aerosol sprays with names Aveeno Protect and Refresh, Neutrogena Beach Defense, Neutrogena Cool Dry Sport, Neutrogena Ultra Sheer, and Neutrogena Invisible Daily. This includes all can sizes and SPF levels of these sunscreens. The company is urging those who have purchased these products to dispose of them. In a statement, the company explaining the voluntary recall was being done out of an abundance of caution after low levels of benzene were discovered in the products. Johnson & Johnson says the chemical could potentially cause cancer depending on the level and extent of exposure. Adding benzene is not an ingredient in its products, and the company is investigating what caused its presence. Johnson & Johnson says work is being done to remove these products from the market and a refund will be provided. The company says to call its Consumer Care Center at 1-800-458-1673. For Health Minute, I'm Mandy Gaither.
A New York City man found a guitar next to a pile of garbage. He used the internet to track down the owner and made his day. Steve Overmeyer has the story.
Phil Sexton rides his fat tire bike everywhere. It gives him a connection to the city.
This bike in particular, I call it the Fun Fatty because no matter where I ride it, it makes people smile.
Little did he know the joy this bike would deliver.
I noticed there's a guitar case leaning against the scaffolding next to a pile of garbage. As a guitar player, I play guitar myself. I just can't leave it.
He picked it up just moments before it would have been lost to a downpour. Inside was only a very common name, Daniel Martinez.
I'm like, oh my God, this is somebody's baby. Somebody is crushed right now.
Because you know what it would be like if you lost your guitar.
Well, the thing is, I did lose a guitar. When I first moved to New York, I had a guitar taken from me. These guitars are an extension of our emotion to channel it through your fingertips into that instrument.
So after hours of internet sleuthing, he and his wife found this.
Playing in a mariachi band, and that's that guitar.
He emailed Daniel and quickly got a response.
He responded, oh, it's my guitar, bro, my guitar.
You can hear the tears in the email.
Yeah. You can see it. It's right there. I'm like, yo, bro, come get your guitar, man. I got your baby.
Daniel said he simply forgot to pack it with the rest of his equipment, but when he was reunited with his guitar, the two turned it into a jam session. You don't need to be a music aficionado to hear the joy.
It sounds like you were reliving your experience through him.
If you can cause another to be blessed, then why not? We're New Yorkers. We're all in this together, you know? Got to look out for each other. We have to have each other's back. I try to make sure that I live that example.
For one Chinese family, giving up was never an option. After more than 2 decades of searching and losing nearly everything, they were reunited with their son, who was taken as a child. Since then, they've helped dozens of other abducted children find their way home. Christy Lou Stout has more.
Teary eyes and an emotional embrace. This couple cling to their son, who was abducted as a 2-year-old 24 years ago. The family's happiness marks the end of a desperate search. Over the last 2 decades, the father, Guo Gangtang, wore down 10 motorbikes and incurred staggering debts, scouring nearly all of China in hopes of finding his son, Guo Xinzhen.
I thought maybe there is a ray of hope to find my son if I go out searching for him. The kidnapper would never send my son back anyway. If I stayed at home, there is no chance. So since the end of 1997, I began the search for my son.
Gang Tang could not find his son, but along the way, he managed to help reunite 100 other abducted children with their families. His story even inspired the 2015 Chinese movie Lost and Love. On Monday, police in Shandong province said they had found Guo, who was living in neighboring Henan province, and reunited him with his parents. Police said that they had arrested 2 people who confessed to kidnapping and trafficking Guo. In 1997, Guo's parents told police their boy was abducted near his home by an unfamiliar woman. Authorities collected evidence, but with limited technology at the time, the case remained unsolved, but it was never closed. In June, police used new DNA analysis and a facial feature comparison and found a potential match. Then they did DNA testing to confirm that they had found the long-lost son.
Even though the current appearance of abductees can vastly differ from that when they were missing as children, the experts made bold, innovative moves and broke through various obstacles and technical barriers.
Child abduction and trafficking is a long-standing problem in China. It's not known exactly how many go missing each year, but some estimates say as many as tens of thousands, and many aren't as lucky as Guo Xinzhen and his parents. Christy Lou Stout, CNN.
Basketball star Candace Parker is making history. She's the first female cover athlete on the NBA 2K video game. The Chicago Sky forward is a 2-time MVP and 6-time All-Star. Parker says this is an important moment of progress for the sport and the series. The WNBA 25th anniversary special edition game is set to release on September 10th. A pig and an exotic cat team up for the perfect escape from a North Carolina zoo. Sounds like a children's movie, but as Keenan Willard reports, that's exactly what happened earlier this week.
It's definitely crazy. Like, you would not think to pass something of that sort, just driving down the highway.
Candid Cobb was driving her daughter home from softball practice yesterday outside the Edgecombe County town of Pine Tops when she saw a line of parked cars looking at something on the side of the highway.
And then we passed by and we saw that it was like a leopard or whatever it is that was on the side of the road. At the moment, it was like very weird, like, why is this animal here?
She didn't recognize the animal because it was a serval, a species of cat native to Africa about 7,000 miles away from its natural habitat. A few miles up the road, Bobby Joe Abrams got a knock on the door from a friend.
He come and he was like, "This has got to be your cat down here."
Abrams runs It's a Zoo Life, an exotic animal park where until that morning the serval, named King Sparta, had been safe in his enclosure. Abrams rushed to the highway where Sparta had made his way near a woman's house.
So I asked her, I said, "I hate to ask you this, do you have any raw meat, like raw chicken?" She's like, "I do have some raw chicken." She goes in, gets a piece of raw chicken, comes out, and I go, "Sparty, King Spartacus, Sparta." He comes right out, he smells the meat. I put it in the kennel, and he walked right in, and we brought him home.
Sparta's back home in his pen now, but when she was putting him inside, Abrams realized he'd had an accomplice, a pot-bellied pig named Oliver, who had broken the gate open from the outside.
And so he rooted and rooted. That rooter is a solid muscle. He kept on, and he pushed the door open. And so the pig was inside and the cat was gone.
Abrams says the cat was domesticated and never posed a threat, but today she's just happy to have him back where he belongs.
Look, here he comes. Hey, Spartacus. Hey, buddy. He went on an adventure.
We want to leave you with a smile tonight. A community in Illinois turned out in spectacular fashion Wednesday to celebrate a World War II veteran's 100th birthday. For the vet, Robert Mueller, it was a total surprise. To honor him, they did a drive-by honk parade, and it featured way more than just cars. There was also a police escort, a procession of vintage vehicles, fire trucks, and even tractors. All of them drove past Mueller's home to pay tribute. He was also treated to a visit by friends and family coming from as far away as Missouri. Mr. Mueller served in Italy with the 88th Division 313th Engineers from 1944 to 1955. Mr. Mueller, we thank you for your service. That's it for us this evening. Have a good night, and we'll see you back here tomorrow.